Hello and welcome to the SFCA podcast. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho and everywhere in between. Miami is a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us. Good morning, everybody. This is Miguel from the association. Thank you very much. We have so far 40 people joining us. We're waiting to get Wendy on board. Thank you very much. We've got a great lineup this morning. Somewhat different to what we've done before. We've got our normal key players, and then we also have a special invited guest, Mr. David Whittaker, the new Chief Executive Officer and President of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. First and foremost, we're going to start off with Andrew, a new participant in our call. Want to give him the floor so he can give us all the latest stats and all that's going on in the Bureau. Andrew, take it away.
Sure. Absolutely. Hi, folks. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Andrew Wobensmith. I'm the Director of Research here at the Greater Miami Convention Visitors Bureau. I'm happy to see you this morning. Happy, and Miguel, thank you for asking me to come and speak.
Thank you.
I think people who know me know that I like to talk about tourism. I can't talk about tourism with my friends and family. So this is the only place I can talk about tourism, one of the most interesting and important things in my life. So we're going to go through some quite a few statistics today. I don't want to spend too much time. There's a lot of information in this deck, and just so you know, it will be available to you after this meeting for you to peruse and ask other questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a snapshot. Let me share my screen here.
No, it's not your fault. We have streams almost like a blip because we only have.
Can everybody see my screen at this point?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a snapshot of where tourism has been this year. We're going to talk about some of the industry indicators. We're going to talk about what hotels, what the air looks like, where is the Airbnb at, what are our visitors doing while we're here. These are the types of things I'm going to talk about today, and then we'll just kind of fast forward and get some ideas of where we think we're going to be in the upcoming months. So I want to start out by talking about these things we call the Miami-Dade County Daily Recovery Indexes. And for those of you that aren't familiar with these things, we've been tracking daily activity among these different metrics for the past year and a half. And so what we're doing is we're looking at what's going on at our airport, looking at our hotels, looking at our restaurants, try to understand where the recovery is. So we're comparing these metrics every day against what we saw in 2019. So to give you a little bit of contrast, in this table at the top, we see that on August 8th of last year, our air travel, hotel, and dining were quite low as compared to 2019. Really looking at air travel, we were about a fifth of where we would normally be. Hotel, just over a third of rooms sold as compared to the prior year, about a quarter of dining activity. Fast forward to 1 year later, as of August 7th, we can see here that the metrics have really improved almost to a point where pre-pandemic, 2019. Air travel, just a few percentage points below what we would consider to be normal. Hotel, more than 90% recovered in terms of selling rooms. Dining has really been doing phenomenal, really above what we saw 2 years ago. Looking at those bar charts down at the bottom there is really just illustrating the growth that we've seen this year from January to present day. So it's really been positive and strong. Interestingly, looking at our air travel, for example, we improved so much, and then looking at where we got to several months ago, we got to an area where we've just been holding, over 90%, and just ticked up a percentage point to where we've been holding it, getting close to what we saw 2 years ago. And a reminder that this is without things such as meetings. These are things without our European markets and without cruising. So very strong indicators, where this traffic is coming from. And as you can probably guess, and I'll mention in a moment, this is mostly domestic travel and not so much international. These are our visitor numbers here to Miami-Dade County, looking at the Q1 from this year, Q1 last year, and then what we would consider to be the last normal year would have been 2019. Takeaways from this slide is that 2021 started off a little bit sluggish in terms of visitation, but really net for Q1, we are essentially recovered when it comes to domestic and Florida resident visitation. The real lag here is international. We have still not recovered from international, but these other markets have really more than made up for it.
Promote you.
Looking at our top visitor markets, Q1, looking at Q1 and 20, and then of course Q1 and 21, we can see that our top markets, the share has really shifted. 2020, our normal culprits: Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Canada. Latin American markets were strong, but much stronger in Q1 versus what we saw in 20. And of course, that has everything to do with COVID and the different travel restrictions. So our number one international market that we've been seeing has been Colombia, followed by Mexico and DR. So
on the chat, yeah, because I have to grab it.
Looking at the first 6 months here for top domestic visitor markets, I'm going to add that this information comes from a company called Datafy. These are mobile devices that we track through our market into Miami-Dade County. It's pretty creepy, I know. Big Brother is following our visitors into our county here, but this is a really good tool for us to understand where people are coming from. And for the first 6 months of this year versus 6 months of last year, it's really interesting that our top markets for domestic are still our top markets, almost exactly, in terms of rank and really proportion of share of visitor markets. We do know that there has been an increased overall amount of visitation, but really the takeaway here is that our strongest markets in the United States are still continuing to be New York, Chicago, and Atlanta. So why are people coming here, right? So from our research perspective, we look at our visitors, we put them into 3 categories, and that would be international, that would be domestic, and then we have a special category for Florida residents, because we know as Florida residents, Florida residents can sometimes act a little differently when it comes to visitation to areas in Florida as opposed to others. What we can see here is in all 3 cases, the top motivator, the top reason for visiting Greater Miami would be for vacation and pleasure. However, interestingly here, we started asking our international people, we asked everybody, but our international people in particular, in June, we asked them if they're here to receive a COVID vaccine. And interestingly, in June, 37% of the international visitors that we surveyed said they were here for a COVID vaccine. So that has been a very strong reason for being here, and arguably a driver of tourism for some to come here and get the vaccine. Moving down the list here, I'll point out here that while domestic and Florida residents are also here for vacation and pleasure, some of the reasons that are more strong for Florida residents are really around visiting friends and family. And if I were to talk about last year, this is really from January to June, but last year we saw towards Q4 is that the number one motivator for Florida residents were to come here to visit friends and family over pleasure. So I believe that has something to do with the lockdowns, the pandemic, people unable to get out. When they were able to, the first thing that they did would be to connect with friends and family over potentially for vacation or pleasure reasons. This is our 52-week hotel occupancy tracker. What we're doing here is we're looking at by a weekly basis what our occupancies have looked like from this each week versus the 2 years prior. So what we see here is these dotted lines are where we were 2 years prior. These solid lines are where we have netted out, and we can see a really nice convergence of these 2 lines over the last 52 weeks. To a present day, where really our occupancy is just lagging a little bit behind where we were 2 years ago. And this has been a pretty good, solid, steady change. So we're really happy and encouraged to see this. As I had mentioned about number of hotel rooms being sold, we're selling almost as many hotel rooms. We've got a few hotels that have come online, so we're going to absorb some of that, and some of those new hotels are going to be reflected in this occupancy. But we've been in a pretty solid shape. I'm not mentioning this here, but if you're a hotelier, you know what the rates have looked like. We've been very happy about those rates. And I want to just quickly say kudos to you hoteliers out there who have been holding your rates out there during these times. We did not really expect to see such strong bounce back in terms of rates. And a year ago, if you could talk to me a year ago, I would have given you a much different scenario. I would have said, that we were going to be down. I want to be put on record here that I'm happy that I was wrong. That instead of rates going down, we have just seen continual improvement going up and up and up. So looking at our hotel booking trends for the next 6 months, this chart really just represents the 6-month view looking forward. And what I do is I look at this data every week, looking at that pace and that percent change for the upcoming 6 months. So you'll see here, each color line represents what that booking pace looked like year over year, every single week that I checked for the upcoming 6 months. You look here at that purple line to the left here, that arrow, that's what the hotel performance looked like in terms of booking trends year over year as of June 27th. We can see there as you move up those those arrows there, you'll see up to 718, we were really, really trending upwards, but then we started to see a dip starting in mid-July. The following week, by the 25th of July, we started to see some short-term booking erosion, particularly short-term. And so, we definitely, I think we can understand where some of that came from. There's certainly news about the COVID variants that are out there that are changing the way people are booking. So some solid, some decreases, but I will say here, as of 8/8, that blue line, we saw a little bit of increase. But if you look further out, it looks to me that it looks like these bookings for future travel beyond August are actually increasing. So we are seeing a good pickup further out. Right now, the activity that we're seeing around some of this slowness is really just at this point in the short term. Now we have hotel here, but we also have Airbnb. So, we don't talk much about Airbnb for any number of reasons here, but we have some data here I can share that looks at the same thing. Occupancy booking trends for Airbnb for the next 6 months. It's somewhat of a different story for Airbnb. Airbnb has certainly seen improvement, much like hotels in some ways, but really what's going on in the Airbnb market is we actually are seeing increased softness in terms of reservations going further and further out. And as of 8/15, as of this last weekend, you can see that yellow line at the bottom is actually the softest it has been. And this has been a continual trend going down. So why this is, I really, quite honestly, couldn't give you a really solid answer here. But if I were to look at both hotel and Airbnb, certainly hotel looks to be something that's a little bit more positive further out. Looking at our STR forecast, which just came in last week, we see here a reflection in part of what we've already been talking about. But what you can take away from here is that STR is predicting that, yes, we're going to continue to see a little bit of softness in occupancy, but not much. The story here is in room rate. STR says that for Q3, we're going to have a room rate that's 40% higher than it was 2 years ago. So, this has been continually a good story. Even going into Q4, we're still looking at a percentage increase over same period 2 years ago. We're going to net out for the year. We think it's going to be a little bit less occupancy than from 19. But when we look at rate, we're going to see the rate is up so high that we're going to net out in a RevPAR that, according to STR, is essentially on par with 2019. So that's great news. We know 2019 was the strongest year we ever had here in Miami-Dade for our hotels. So if we can finish out the year at where we were 2 years ago, I don't think anybody here could disagree that that's not great news. Looking at future air travel booking pace, we have data that includes travel agency booking data, which would include the OTAs, and doing the same thing that I've done in the last several slides, looking at that pace of booking that's been going on in the next 6 months. What we can see here is that blue line represents domestic, red international. We're seeing pretty solid performance among domestic, all things considered. Looking at the bookings for August, we're down about 7% from where we were 2 years ago, 8.5%, 5% for domestic. International has not quite picked back up yet. And you can see there that trend continues to decrease down to January, where we're still down, quite considerably. So, we'll continue to monitor this stuff every month. I pull this information, and while it has been improving, international still has a ways to go. Looking back at Florida residents, asking them where they're going to travel, either where they've traveled recently or where they plan to travel in the upcoming months, we can see here that the good news is that Miami has continued to be among their top destinations for travel among Florida residents. That's where they've gone, or that's where they're telling us they're going to be in the upcoming months. So that's great news. Miami has consistently been top of mind for quite a while now. We did see in the beginning of the summer that Orlando was gaining some strength in terms of where people said they wanted to visit. They also, in some other data we have, we're talking a lot more about amusement parks, so that makes sense. But we can see here that still, as of June, we are still considered to be, the most popular planned destination for people here in Florida. So that's really great news as well. Here's a really interesting piece of information here. Among those visitors we speak with, those Florida residents, of those that say they're not likely to visit Miami soon, we ask them why not. What are the barriers coming to Miami? And you can see going all the way back to October that the top barriers for travel here to Miami among Florida residents was their concerns about contracting COVID. They're also unsure about what COVID restrictions would be in place at where they were visiting. These are common concerns along just about every destination. Also, something we expected to be probably one of the biggest motivators for travel would be people were waiting for a COVID vaccine. We knew that travel confidence was going to improve once they got a vaccine. And we can see here that since October, these barriers have essentially decreased. However, there is one that has increased, which I think is something to note, in that those Florida residents who say that they're not likely to visit Miami in the near future are saying more and more that they'd rather visit locations outside of Florida. So just keep that on your list, that people here who don't want to come to Miami are looking at other destinations, and that has become more important for them. I know a lot of us want to spread our wings. Some of us want to go spread our wings within the state. Some of us want to go, further out there. So just something to keep in mind as other destinations become open again and we start competing more directly with them. Finally, I'll leave you with some national traveler sentiment. We look at some of the biggest surveys out there for travelers. Destinations International is one, Longwoods is another, and really, they're trending fairly closely. And the main takeaway here is that yes, there are concerns that the Delta, from the Delta variant, they are changing some of the perceptions, attitudes, and behavior of people booking right now. People's short-term plans are being curtailed. However, there are some good takeaways from this, and that is that there are still, looking at Longwoods here, 86% of these people still have plans to travel in the next 6 months. So while there has been some erosion in the short term, there's a very high proportion of people who are travelers that do plan to travel in the upcoming 6 months. So, and lastly, I'll just throw here, even though I didn't mention it, and it might be a topic of contention, but vaccine passports is one thing that I didn't mention here on purpose. I think we all know these are things that are unraveling as we speak. There are some areas that are going to be requiring vaccine passports. I don't believe that anybody here at this point in time is aware of anything that's happening here in Florida. So I'm hoping that stays the same. It may affect our travel. Last year we benefited from being open when other destinations were closed. We definitely saw a bigger share of travelers as a result of being open. So if some of these other markets close, we may see a little bit of improvement from there. So that's really about all I have to share today. If you want any of this information, this is always available on our website. You can simply go to this URL. You can download a lot of this and more. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm always here to help. So
can you put the URL in the chat?
Yes, I will. And you'll also have a copy of this presentation in which you'll have the URL as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Andrew. Does anyone have any questions for Andrew before we move on? No? Okay. Wendy, we should have a connection with you. I see you there. Perfect. I'm going to bring up your PowerPoint. Andrew, I want to make you remove you from co-host status so I can bring Wendy up. Allow me a second.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, David. We're really excited. Andrew, that was terrific. It's been a while since we chatted. And hi, Ceci and Miguel and everyone. Well, so are you my producer, Miguel?
Yep, I am. Give me a second. Let me get you up. 1 second. I'm getting it ready. 1 second. Share screen. Perfect. Everyone should see the screen now, I hope. Yes.
Okay, so can you go back one slide?
Go back one. There we go.
Yes. So just wanted to share with you our fabulous event that we had on June 10th. Many of you were attending, but what happened was we honored Bill Talbert as our first Hospitality and Tourism Leader of the Year. So this is an event that we will host every year. And also we announced that he is the recipient of the GmbHA GMCBB Academy of Hospitality and Tourism Scholarship. So we're going to start raising money for the scholarship starting today. So we're actually setting up a link that I'll send you, Miguel, so people can start donating to the scholarship. I know Bill's very excited about it, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, next. I like doing this. The last day and a half, we've been working on Haiti earthquake relief efforts. I will tell you that many of our employees have lost family members. They're still trying to reach them. So we have put together a link for Haiti earthquake relief efforts. These are some of the organizations that we're working with right now. I'm sure there'll be more, but we did find an organization where we're going to be able to put together non-perishable items. Our hotels are going to be doing that over the next couple of days. So if anybody wants to get involved or has any questions, please reach out to me, because every day there's going to be more and more efforts that we've got to do. We don't have a lot of time to save people. So whatever we can do to help, and whatever you can do to help, to let me know. Thank you so much. This is so tough. Very, very tough.
Thank you.
Our upcoming events, this is very, very exciting. Our South Florida Tourism Professional of the Year Luncheon. It's 30 years of tourism leadership, 30 years. Can you imagine already? I can't believe it. And I happen to be a proud winner a few years ago. It's just a wonderful organization. And we hope that you can attend the event. I think we've got 21 tables sold already. So please reach out. Here's the invitation. If you have any questions, and if you want to nominate a South Florida Tourism Professional of the Year, there's still time to do that as well. So all the information is on the Evite. We've got Belkis is going to be the master of ceremony, and we're excited to have Chef Michelle Bernstein and Dean Chang from FIU, Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. They're going to be our featured speakers. This is going to be an amazing event at the Hyatt Regency Miami, who has hosted this event. I don't know. I think since the beginning. So we're really excited. And then many of you are familiar with our InKey Awards. We weren't able to have one last year, obviously, and we are celebrating, going back to the Hilton Miami, October 8th, to celebrate our hourly hotel employees. That's going to be that'll be a tearjerker. We'll have to have a lot of Kleenex for that one. So anyone would like to sponsor, or anyone would like to attend, let us know. But we're really looking forward to that too. And I know the employees are. Freddie Peterson sent me a list of the upcoming Miami Beach Convention Center events, which are, you can take a look at that. Look at that gorgeous center. It's beautiful. So let me know if you have any questions about that. And we're really excited. And thanks, of course, to the GMCBB for booking all these events. And then just to share with you last week we had 2 workshops on vaccinations. And hosted by Baptist Health Florida Blue. We had some great speakers to include physicians, scientists, and also we had 2 hotel employees, one of them that got COVID, speak to the employees. So we had an English session and a Spanish session. It was very good, very productive, and we're going to be continuing to do these educational updates on the importance of getting a vaccine. And then we have some new testing sites for testing and also vaccinations. And one is in Sunny Isles Beach Government Center. As you can see here, they're doing both testing and also vaccines, and encouraging people, residents and businesses, to wear masks. And then I know this is already mentioned, but I thought this was cute. Bill sent it to me yesterday. That, Miami's rated a top vacation spot for families. Love it. Love it.
Perfect.
And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Wendy? No questions so far. Okay, we take it over to Ceci. Hi, Ceci.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. And yourself?
Good.
Go ahead.
So I mean, as far as what we're seeing on the street, basically, is there's a lot of tourism coming. The capacity is there. The hotels are being booked. We are having in Miami Beach. We have excitedly opening the Salino, which was now bought, and now it's going to be the Gabriel South Beach. So that's being turned over, and it's actually opened. So we have now the restaurants are opened, and it's Think Hospitality. So the restaurants are owned by the same people that do Bibelots. It's really exciting for the South Beach destination, because we have the Salino Hotel opening with 3 different restaurants, 4 different properties, a great draw. We've got tonight, you're going to have that event at the Good Time Hotel. The Good Time has recently come right before COVID, opened, also the Moxie, and then we have a whole Firestone area. So with, David Grutman is opening some really unique concepts. So we're seeing that South Beach is coming back with new concepts, new attractions, reinventing itself. There's a lot more that we have to do on South Beach. We have to control the environment. We have to work really closely. The new Delta variant has really affected how they do business. As you know, we were going to have at the chamber, we were going to do the tourism and hospitality kind of send off for Bill Talbert. We were really excited about just having a networker, just like a happy hour, nothing incredibly formal, but we had to cancel that. So we have to be careful about what kind of events we're having and how close people are getting. The good news is we've already gone through this once, so people know to mask up. People know to do the sanitizing. People know to do the distancing. So people are kicking in. Staffing is still a big problem. And staffing, I think that's a big problem all over the county. So people are doing a lot of job fairs. Job fairs are not being really like a huge amount of people attending the job fairs. So staffing is still kind of, an issue that I don't know what we're going to do, but we definitely have to. A lot of training, a lot of bringing people who haven't been in the industry, sitting down, giving them, the resources so that they would be viable candidates. All of that is the trends that I'm seeing. We are looking forward to Pride on Miami Beach, which is going to be September. Let's see, the parade is the 19th. Pride in the park is going to be the 18th and 19th. They have a full week of events, and they're going to use the mansion for their ball gala. So we're seeing that there are events that are coming back. We're looking forward to Art Basel. The city is putting programs together, but they're trying to be right in the middle, not huge events, but at the same time, we had movie in the park for the first time in Lummis Park over by Ocean Drive. So people were able to, spread out. So I think people are looking at how to reinvent events, reinvent themselves as hotels. We're seeing more on the culinary aspect of it, bringing people in for the restaurants and not as much for the nightlife. So it seems to be working right now. Espanola Way is really exploding as well. Very safe, walkable. It's being seen as a little micro destination amongst itself. So those are the kind of things that I see happening. I also see that when you look at the development issues, people are looking at things from a 50,000 feet level. They're looking at what's viable. How can we make the hotels more viable, especially like the Art Deco, right? Rezoning the area to make them more viable so that they're not just, disintegrating over time. We want to keep that going. So the City Commission is really focusing on that. Quite frankly, I don't know what's happening with Ocean Drive. I know that's the biggest question. Is it going to be cars? Is it not going to be cars? Is it going to be a freebie? I don't have that answer. Certainly there is going to be there's a distinct difference between the options that they're considering as a pilot program, which means for the next 1, 2, or 3 years, versus the long-term Bernard Ziskovich plan, which is utilizing the $25 million in the jail bond and then some to completely redesign and reinvent that whole Ocean Drive, Lummis Park, even with Washington Avenue, which has its own money in the geo bond. What I'm very hopeful about is they're thinking about it comprehensively and not separate, Washington, Collins, and Ocean as being completely separate. And then also with an alliance towards Lincoln Road and Espanola Way, and all coming together saying this is actually one destination, not several different destinations. So we do see a lot of people coming in. We do see a higher end and elevated, but I have new restaurants and hotels opening on Ocean Drive, and it's the marquee for Miami Beach. We're very excited that the convention center has meetings to recapture, that market for the businesses that are in South Beach.
Great. Ceci, thank you. We have a question for both Ceci and Wendy. It was directed to Wendy, but maybe Ceci, you can answer. It comes from Mario Coriel. He says, where are we sitting regarding major groups booking at the Miami Beach Convention Center? I realize it's into the future, but is it happening yet?
It's Andrew.
And you can see it on there's a lot of bookings. There's a lot of bookings, and I think I hear from Freddie every other day. Texts me about this booking, that booking, and a lot booking for next year. I think we're in a really good position. Really good. Don't you, Ceci? Don't you, David?
Yeah, I do too.
Andrew?
I sat down with the convention center team the other day, and 100%. There are people that are booking, they're coming in, everything. The light is very positive. Like I said, I think because of the new variant, we're not going completely backwards. People are not canceling. All they want to make sure is
They're
that there's
postponing. Some of them are postponing.
Some of them are postponing. Some of them are just wanting to ensure that there's measures in place, right? Now, all the staff has to wear masks. We have to confirm and guarantee that there's social distancing. Where we were kind of relaxing that. We're going back to those measures, but people are not. They may be postponing, but they're really just wanting to ensure that the safety measures are in place.
I agree. And Miami and Miami Beach are still the envy of everyone across the country.
Okay, then he says our major one's drawing several thousand attendees from out of areas.
Look at Bitcoin in April. Bitcoin.
Yeah. Bitcoin in 2022 is coming from Wynwood over to the beach next year, and that's grown 4 or 5 times in what it originally was. So that's great. And then he mentions we typically have to compete to get these. The ones that are speaking about are smaller. I think we got some larger ones as well. So thank you very much, Mario, for your questions and your comments. Thank you very much, Ceci, as well. And now it comes time to introduce a gentleman who you do not know. I know personally for many years. He was the Chief Marketing Officer and Vice President of the Bureau for many years for the Bureau, left in 2007 from 1999 to 2007, 17-year run. Then he left in 2007 to show the Canadians in Toronto how an American does it and took that to the top. I'm just blowing up your head right now, David. So enjoy it, relish it. And then from there, he went on to Chicago, where Chicago was voted top city to be in for quite some time, from 2017 to 2020. It was voted best city. So now he's here in South Florida, and we've got some great headlines prior to his arrival. We're top 5 on TripAdvisor, and as Wendy had mentioned, we're rated top vacation spot for families. So he's off to a good start, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know him, you will know him very soon. In fact, today is his second day on the job. Mr. David Whittaker. Welcome, David.
Miguel, thank you. And it's good to see everyone. We're still in this virtual space, but I do look forward to getting a chance to meet each and every one of you personally. Come by your property, see you at an event in the near future. Miguel, you and I have known each other a long time. You mentioned my 17-year run at Miami back from 1990 to 2007. Then my time, my time in Toronto and Chicago. I'm thrilled and really honored and blessed to have a chance to return to what is my home. And I'm super excited about the partnership. And it really is about partnerships. And so I'm really impressed, Miguel, that you and the association have this great standing relationship with the Hotel Association, with Ocean Drive Association and the others. I mean, to your credit and to your association's credit, this is how it's done. It's not one institution. It's not one individual. It's the family. It's the team. We're all in this together, and never been a more important time. It's funny, Andrew, I'm so impressed. We have a wonderful set of data, and data should drive decisions. And so Andrew is telling you where we are. Who would have thought that we would be happy? And this is not Andrew's words, these are my words, but we're celebrating being down only 8%, right? And that's kind of the new normal. We've come so far, and we are very pleased and very relieved that we're not in as difficult a place as some other destinations, but we still have a ways to go. If we were down 5% in a good year over year, from 17 to 18, from 18 to 19, and we'd be in trouble. We'd be looking for new work. So we still have a ways to go. Now, the good news, as Andrew shared, we're almost at par without international travel. We know how important the Canadian visitor market, South America visitor market, Europe. We know how important and how more important the convention center audience will be in months and years to come. So we're in a great place, but we still have a bit of work to do. But if we play our cards right and build the right foundation, the future is bright, and we will all go into this together. One of the things that in putting my thoughts together, Miguel, one of the things we all share in common, and I think the association can play a major, major role, and whatever we can do at the GMCB to support you, is customer service. the visitors know Miami. They know Miami Beach. We have a wonderful destination that's been built up over decades. But when they come and are experiencing our destination day to day, hour to hour, remember, they are not our guests. Believe it or not, we are guests in their lives. Think about our own vacation experience when we get away from it all, and when we go with our loved one, with that special person, with our family, or just to get away from the stress of our daily lives. We want to have a visitor experience that excels and fulfills all of our expectations. And so customer service, because of COVID, because of new normals, because of a disruption in audiences and service delivery, and Ceci mentioned how difficult it is to get fully staffed again. Customer service, we have to double down. We literally have to double down in the next couple of months and years and make sure that Miami and Miami Beach excel at customer service. And so it's going to be a major priority of ours. You know, we'll do the marketing and we'll do the promotion. But at the end of the day, and the Concierge Association is such an important part of this, you fulfill those experiences. And so anything we can do together, and I know Wendy has shown tremendous leadership in this. Ceci has shown the VCA, even the Convention Bureau. So customer service needs to be a major priority. And so, Miguel, when I get with you early, one of the things I want to map out with you is what role we can play at the Convention Bureau, partnering with Wendy and Ceci and others to make sure we are all committed to customer service, because that's going to be a path forward. The numbers that Andrew shared are going to be there. It's what will the experience be? And there's nothing worse than having thousands of people come and experience bad service, right? So our success is not just the volume of the visitor, but the experience that we deliver. And so, Miguel, again, this is, I think, a tremendous opportunity for us to support one another. And I look forward to it. You know, the Convention Bureau, just like everyone else, we've been through a bit of disruption. We need to restaff a few departments that have been set aside with COVID. Our funding is coming back now because the resort tax dollars are coming back. So another initial priority will be a handful of vacancies and staff positions that we need to refill. And then you said it earlier in this call, and Wendy talked about this new jewel. You know, I was there from 1990 to 2007. The Miami Beach Convention Center was really a box, and it was a wonderful box, and it's in a wonderful place. But when you look at other convention centers around the country, and of course, I've been for the last 5 years here at McCormick Place in Chicago, the largest convention center in North America. There are some spectacular convention centers around the country, and we now have one, and we never had one before. And so, you know, Wendy mentioned Bitcoin, which is, a new exciting opportunity here. This new tech sector and fintech, financial tech. And so Bitcoin is just, and it blew up in 1 year. It went from 5,000 to 15,000. It has a bright future. Friday, the team announced $1 million roundtable, which is a incentive show for the top sellers of that industry. And so they don't care about the price. They care about the experience. And so we want to attract to the Miami Beach Convention Center, not just conventions that are looking for a good deal. We're wanting to make sure that they enjoy the destination. The destination enhances the building enhances the destination. And we bring to the city tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of convention delegates who stay and spend and play in our destination. So that's a game changer. I can't wait to see what we unfold in the weeks and months and years ahead as we make sure that the Miami Beach Convention Center is a major provider of business to you, our partners, and to our member partners as well. So I'm super excited, Miguel. I don't want to go on too long. It's my first, days in the destination. It's about building relationships. I'm thrilled. Ceci has been a wonderful friend of mine for years. Wendy, Grissette at the VCA, other chambers, business associations, the Beacon Council, this association, Miguel. It's about partnering, and it's about being a good partner. I pledge to you that I want to be a good partner. I will be. You'll keep me honest and ask for help and give me guidance when needed. And with the association itself, I want to thank everyone on the call, because you're providing that visitor experience that will set us apart when we talk about people wanting to visit other destinations. Because at the end of the day, it's about the experience. It's about telling the story of Miami and Miami Beach. It's about excelling and fulfilling that experience. and so that they will tell others and return in the future. And I couldn't be more excited to be with you and be back and part of this family. And Miguel, I'm happy to answer with the time we have any questions that your group may have, and look forward to future meetings where I can be a part.
Great. Thank you, David. Anyone have any questions for David real quick while you formulate your questions? If you have any, I have a few that I will ask. Thank you very much to Giselle. Concierge make all dreams come true in reality. We're committed to deliver the highest service level with the most certainty that makes Miami the best destination for creating the best memories. And Giselle works at the Aquilina Mansion. So thank you, Giselle, very much for your feedback. Also, Martha had mentioned, she forgot to mention, cruising is back with Carnival MSC, Royal Caribbean, and Ciel and Crystal. They're starting to ramp up as well. So we'll get that visitor as well. And going back to what you said, David, it's true. Collaboration is everything. It's not one group. It's not one person. It's a collaborative effort between all. And at the end of the day, it is all about customer service. Whether you have hotel rooms at any ultra luxury, uber luxury hotel that has 900 plus thread count sheets with the finest tapestries, or if you're in one of the lower tier hotels, it's the experience, the expectation, the dream, that the feeling that you leave with that creates that value. You won't remember what the color of the wallpaper or the sheets or the bed or the pillow was, but you will remember how you felt when you got on that plane, jumped in that car, got on that bus or that train, and went back home, wherever home may be. And that will bring you back over and over and over again. So very well put, David. Thank you very much for your efforts. One of my questions, I don't see any questions on the tab yet. Considering where we are now, David, what do you foresee as being the travel expert, both in different markets? Where do you see that we need to move forward apart from customer service to get us to not number 5, not number 3, not number 2, but number 1 in the TripAdvisor travel market?
Well, Miguel, that's the goal, right? It's not just to make the playoffs, using a sports analogy. It's not just to make the championship round. It's to win the Super Bowl. And so we won't stop until we're winning championships again. And number 1 is the goal. But it's not just one category, to your point. It's not just being, and in fact, the diversity of the destination is one of our greatest strengths. I think we would all agree that recently, and Ceci touched on this, recently, the story of South Beach has been dominated by a party, kind of rowdy, chaotic environment. And that's not ideal for obvious reasons. So one of the things that we have an opportunity to do is to diversify the reputation that Miami and Miami Beach has. And that's through the storytelling. It's also through the audience segmentation. It's who we're attracting and how we're reaching out and engaging with visitors and potential visitors. And so one of our greatest strengths, Miguel, to your point, is that we're not just a family-friendly destination. We're not just and the culinary scene. And again, Chicago, I've lived in one of the best food cities in the country for the last 5 years. And I'm super impressed with the new emerging culinary scene. This new restaurant that Ceci talked about in the Biblos Inc., which, by the way, is headquartered in Toronto. I knew them well in Toronto. The food scene is going to be a game changer for many of our destination partners, whether that's Coconut Grove, downtown Brickell, Miami Beach. The music scene, our ethnic diversity, our Latin heritage. We have so much to tap into to have diverse audiences, and present diverse experiences. You never want to be a singular brand. You never want to be known for one thing, because things come and go. And so our ability to build in the future on having a diverse product, having diverse visitors, diverse delegates, diverse experiences, countywide, is going to strengthen us, because you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. And so I want us to be category leaders in several categories: a place for honeymooners, a place for older travelers, a place for young families, a place for bachelorettes, a place for the LGBTQ community to continue to grow and prosper. There's just so many different audiences that we can tap into. And our diversity will be our greatest strength.
Sure, it needs to be universal. Agreed. Ali Bibo from the GMCVB has a question for you, David. What helped move the meter on customer service issues in cities where you recently were leading and in charge of?
Great question. I'm glad she's on the call and a teammate. The key to making something work is making it a priority. And I was intentional I was intentional in making sure that I mentioned on this call, and you'll hear from us in the future, things happen when you make it a priority. And so wherever we are as a destination, and I have to learn more about some of the great work that Wendy's, I'm aware of some of the great work that the Hotel Association is doing in customer service. And so Wendy and I have talked, and I have pledged to Wendy whatever support we need to provide her and others, the VCA and the associations that are on this call. But we have to make customer service a priority every day. And so if you do, good things can happen. And so you'll be hearing a lot about this in the future for sure. I promise you.
Great. Thank you. Hopefully, Ali, we answered that question. Now, I have a question for you as well. Today in New York City, it's no vax, no service. COVID vaccine mandate starts today in New York City restaurants. Do you foresee that happening in South Florida at all?
Yeah, it's not for me to, I'm not going to be that good at predicting those kinds of things. From what I read, I think it's with different states have different politics, and our governor has been very clear. Whether you agree or not agree, that's not the point. Our governor has been very clear about his position on some of these things. And so that seems like that's going to be a debate that will happen statewide. So A, I don't know the answer. B, I think the solution will be, continuing growth where more people are being vaccinated, less unvaccinated. Over time, that has to continue. If we can't get these variants under control, and by the way, there's a new variant. There's a variant now after the Delta variant, Alpha variant. And just like the Delta variant, when you first heard about it, you heard a little bit about it. Maybe it's in California. Next thing you know, 6 months later, it's what it is, right? So we're a long way from being out of the woods on this. And so, all these debates, appropriate question, by the way, but all these debates about vaccines and masking up and special social distancing, if we can't get the spread of COVID under control, none of this is going to matter. None of this is going to matter. That's what's got to matter. And so unfortunately, I think we still have a long, long way to go. And we have to have plans to make sure that we can continue, because we're far from the end of this. And we have to continue to have plans that get us through and get us to the other side. But we have a long, long way to go.
Indeed we do. And hopefully people will vaccinate. I know the White House mentioned yesterday that after 8 months, there'll be a third vaccine for those people who took Pfizer and Moderna, not so much the J&J, but definitely the Pfizer and Moderna. So it almost looks like we may get through it, or we may have to just learn to live with it like they're doing in the EU. So hopefully that'll be something that we will eventually conquer overall as a community, universal community. Anyone else have any questions for David or any of the other panelists? No?
Can I add something, Mika?
Go ahead, please, Ceci.
Yeah, if I could, because this customer service issue is so important. And I think you can look beyond that. It's systemic, because I have had to intercede in different areas. We've got a lot of customers coming in. We've got to make up, and there's economic recovery. Managers feeling a lot of pressure because staff is they're not fully staffed. So they have a lot of frustration. They're taking it out on their staff. It's really hard to say good customer service unless you're treating your staff like gold. They're overworked. Show a lot of understanding, give them a pat on the back. It will boost morale. There's a lot of stress out there. So I've had to sit down with managers going, you don't want to take out the fact that you're understaffed with the staff that are showing up. You need to show a lot of appreciation, and it turns it around. And that's going to help with customer service.
True point.
Well said. Anyone else have a question for the group? Myself or anyone else? Statements? No? Very well. It's about 7 minutes shy of the hour. Thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Ceci. Thank you, Wendy. And particularly thank you, David. Day 2, I think you're off to a good start. Thank you for all the 60 plus people that joined us. David, I may use you more often because the numbers grow exponentially when they heard you were going to be on the call. So thank you very much for taking this time. Again, we are recording this, producing this, and posting this on our YouTube channel. So if you missed it in whole or in part, you're more than welcome to subscribe to our YouTube channel and see it in its full entirety. So everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, and God bless. Be safe. Mask up.
God bless everyone.
Hello, and welcome to the SFCA podcast. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho, and everywhere in between. Miami is a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us.